Start recording. All right, we're back with part 4, and this time I'm with my brother. And
Hello.
yeah, we're gonna start from where I left off. Yeah, Persona 4 the animation. What do you think about it?
Persona 4 is it's really good, especially if you don't want to play the games.
I mean, I still say you should play the game,
Yeah, no, the
but
game's good.
Persona 4 the animation is a fine substitute. I think the main character is the star of the show.
Oh yeah, Yunar Kami in Persona 4 is really, really good. Like he starts off as like a blank slate character, but then as your in-game stats go up, he actually becomes the weirdo who can take all of the like courageous options and stuff like that. And yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, there's just a lot of gold scenes that happen. Like honestly, I would watch it as a companion to the games if you're going to. But still play the game. By the way, I already went over Berserk, the movies. Berserk's great, right?
Yes, it's great.
Read the
It's
manga,
horrible, but
but
it's great.
yeah. Kaon, did you ever watch Kaon?
No, I haven't watched Camp.
I watched Kaon both seasons. It's cute. You know the quintessential four girls. You know, start a band thing. It's done really well. It's KyoAni, so the animation's great. Uh, it's wholesome. There's no drama. It's just yeah. Watch it if you want to be comfy.
From what I can tell, like just through osmosis alone, Kaon is pretty much is in the center of the universe as far as the anime about cute girls doing cute things.
Yeah, it is the prototypical. It's where everything comes from. We are all Kaon. All right. Uh, Durarara. I talked about it the first season in the previous one. Uh, yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, no, I liked what I saw. Like that was a fun time. It's really interesting what the show chooses to focus on, even though like there's a bunch of weird shit in Durarara, but the focus is more on the connections and stuff.
Yeah, it's all about this big city and all these characters in it, and it just keeps going from like these characters to these characters, and it's crazy how it can balance all these different narratives, and like it looks great. I mean, it's from the makers of Bakano. I never watched Bakano. I've heard it's great too. I'll get to that eventually. It's just one of those like you should probably watch it eventually. But yeah, Da is a good show. I gave it an 8. Just love the way the story's told. Toradora.
Toradora is really nice. Toradora is it's adorable
Shut up.
and
Shut up. Toradora is made from the people who made my favorite rom com, Golden Time. So I don't like Toradora as much as Golden Time, but Toradora is great. Ryuji's a good character. Taiga's a good character. Side characters are good. Um, it has one of those things where it can just be super dramatic at times, and sometimes the drama is a bit uh
it's as important as drama is when you're that age.
yeah, which is why I like Golden Time a lot more because I think the drama matters just a bit more. Because they're
Did you already go over Golden Time?
it's up, going up.
Oh, okay.
So like I gave Toradora an 8 because it's great. It's very good. Uh,
Yeah, and like as far as main characters go, Taiga is one of the more interesting ones as far as like the romantic comedies and stuff.
yeah, she's not your typical tsundere. I mean, maybe she is your typical tsundere,
She is
but
pretty
like
slim.
she has a good reason. Like, and she doesn't stay that way, or like you get used to her by like episode 3, and you're just fully on board. And yeah, again, I think some of the drama, especially towards the end of the show, it gets a bit heavy-handed and gets a bit like, oh fuck, especially that fight at the end. Yeah, the fight between her and the student council president. Yeah, it gets a bit like, oh, these girls are gonna kill each other. We should probably stop it. And then sometimes just like, it just gets a bit melodramatic. But it fine. It works. But speaking of melodramatic, Clannad After Story. You never watched this.
No.
Never watched Clannad either. Clannad, I talked about it previously. I think I gave it a 7. Uh, I mean, Clannad is good. Clannad After Story is better. Clannad is obligatory if you're going to watch After Story. That being said, After Story, I mean, it's interesting because it's the sequel that you want from high school rom coms, like Toradora. If Toradora had an After Story style sequel, minus the terrible sadness, it'd be great, and everyone would love it. Clannad is that. You know, it's what happens to these characters after they get together, and oh shit, he gets a job and they get married and have kids, and nothing bad happens. Luckily, uh, nothing happens at all. Nothing terrible and heartbreaking. Uh, Whenever I first saw this show, whenever people were first talking about this show, there was a big argument about emotional manipulation, where like people had a problem if you made a story too aggressively sad. Like, oh, you're just trying to make me cry. Like, yeah, but if you cry, I mean, it's kind of on you. It's like, how dare you make me have feelings for your characters? Damn you! But if it worked, it worked. Uh, and the side characters are fine. You know, it's good shit. Zedai Karen children. Obviously, this is you, right?
What? What do you mean? What?
Oh,
No.
only I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the world who has seen Zetai Caring Children. It is the prequel to The Unlimited Field of Kyosuke. It's about these three girls who have psychic powers, and one of them is going to become the queen of catastrophe in the future. Uh, and yeah, it's kind of like a sort of, if I remember correctly, because I saw this like I think maybe 7 years ago. It's kind of a monster of the week kind of anime where every time like there's a problem in the city and the children are sent to solve this problem, and it's a world of espers, and these are three very powerful espers, but they are children, so they kind of, what it reminds me of. This is Japanese Powerpuff Girls. That's what this is. Like they're three girls who defend a city in a world of espers. Like, there's a big bad who's one of them, and he's actually the one who eventually gets his own show. And yeah, uh, whatever. Point is, it was a good time. I liked it. Uh,
Like, was it? Why'd you like it? Was it for the action or
I
was it
mean,
this?
I liked the world and I liked the characters. Like, it's an old school anime, and it worked really well, from what I remember. Uh, I like the idea of like there's a future that we're trying to prevent, because like this is a world of espers, so they saw a glimpse of the future, and it's like a world on fire, and this is one of the main characters. Like, this would be like the blossom of the group. She becomes basically becomes Magneto, right? And she's like the queen of the espers in the future, but she's Blossom right now, so we sort of have to prevent that future. So like it's just a good concept for a show. Uh, it worked for me. Yeah, Lovely Complex. You watched that one. You actually introduced me to that one.
Oh yeah, Lovely Complex is uh it's really nice. Okay, if you want to talk about melodrama, yeah, Lovely Complex has a bit of it.
It feels meandering sometimes.
There's times, yeah, like I rewatched it recently, and yeah, there's times where like this probably could have been finished really like in a few, like you could have knocked a few episodes off
Was
of
there a
there.
season two?
There were two seasons. Yeah.
Both 24 episodes?
Uh, no. I think Mal is just putting
Because it
them
says
together because there's
okay.
there's two different OPs. That's
Okay,
why I
yeah,
think of it like that.
yeah.
But yeah, Lovely Complex is it's really nice. It's about a tall girl who dates a short guy. That's
Scandalous.
and they both have a complex over their heights.
I get
And
it.
yeah,
Uh,
it, like
it's a
it,
nice rom com.
yeah. It's also old.
Yes.
It's old. If you ever want like if if anyone is listening and if anyone wants to watch this, remember that it's old.
Oh, 07.
Some things were different back then.
Yeah.
And so it sometimes the show has a bit of an attitude in a few areas that don't exactly mesh well with today's uh you know, with the way things are today. But besides that, it's still really nice. The characters are a lot of fun. The main guy and girl, they are the most fun to be around. There's a little too much crying, about as much crying as as you would see in like an episode of One Piece or whatever. But yeah, that's a good time still.
Yeah. And Mal gives it an 8. We give it an 8. That's about it.
Also, it involves character. It's a romance about characters that do get together at a point, and it's not the end of the show. We get to spend time with them after they're together.
Yeah, there's just something about rom-coms where I hate it when the whole point of the show is like it's kind of like with Toradora. Like the character, of course, the point of the show is that you're seeing the romance blossom, from this friendship. But I'd like to see how they work as a couple, right?
Yeah.
And I, it's special when an anime rom-com has the characters get together sometime in the middle, where you can actually see how they actually work out instead of just the spark of romance that starts the relationship. Uh, so like when they do it, it's good. But yeah, lovely comments. I like it. Dead Leaves.
Dead Leaves is, I mean, look, this is old Gynax. Dead Leaves is a fun ride. The story is really stupid, makes no real sense. There's a bit of a through line in there. So, I mean, you can say that there is a story, but
I don't think the story matters.
it doesn't really. It's just about like just feast your eyes and just enjoy the fucking animation. It's just a bunch of fun.
Bunch of Hiroyuki Imaishi.
Yeah, yeah, a bunch of Imaishi stuff, and it's just if you're familiar with old Gynax and if you're familiar with trigger stuff, you can see a lot of the tricks that they would use and they still use today in Dead Leaves.
It reminds me of this. There was this panel where Imaishi was just like drawing during the panel, and within like I think either 30 minutes to an hour long panel, he creates this scene that he shows at the end of the panel. And it's just amazing how fast he was able to make such an incredible animation while he's just fucking off doing nothing. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna randomly make this amazing animation that people who aren't me would probably work days on. I just kind of did it for shits and giggles. And this is Dead Leaves, where it's just like 30. It's what's also good about it, it's short. It's like 30 minutes of just Imaishi. It's a 30-minute Imaishi shit post.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Like it's also vulgar.
Yes, it's very
Be
vulgar.
ready for that if you check it out. Like it's pretty vulgar.
I'm
Not
pretty
any,
sure there's an abortion.
Yeah, maybe there might be,
Yeah.
but yeah, like that. It's still a fun time. Like the characters are really cool, especially if you like people with TVs for heads.
Now, speaking of Showtime, Big O, Big O, Big O, Big O. So I love Big O. Like to me, it just gives me the Batman vibes. What if Batman had a mecha?
It's incredibly Batman. Yeah,
And I think this is also one of those shows that it worked in America and it didn't quite work in Japan. Like America got a second season.
yeah, yeah.
The second season wasn't as good.
No, it's like the second season is bad actually.
Yeah.
I'll say it's bad. It reaches up into its own ass, and then it reaches even deeper into the Matrix's ass, and that's where it just died. But I swear it's so fucking cool though.
The aesthetic of Big O is just a dream.
Like
There's that gothic feel, the bluesy, like, you know, uh,
I still listen to
yeah,
the jazz tune from Big O.
brick ballads.
Yeah,
Um,
so damn good.
you can play it to anything.
Yeah, I'll just play it at work. I might even start narrating
Yeah,
for no reason. And yeah, it's so good. Also, the pile bunker that Big O uses
yeah.
is so like anytime someone tries to bring up pile bunkers, I only think of Big O.
Yeah. Uh, yeah.
And, and of course, Roger Smith is endlessly cool. Dorothy is a lot of fun. Uh,
They got a cool butler.
yeah, they got an Alfred. Like, folks, it's just Batman.
Digimon Adventure.
Ah, yeah, the second best Digimon.
Yeah. I think I mentioned in a previous part. Tamers is the good one.
Hey,
Uh,
this is the best.
it's the best one.
It tame it. If you're okay, if you don't know, here's the list. It's Tamers right at the top. Power Gap, Digimon Adventure, and then from there you can go ahead and decide for yourself.
Do you like Frontier or do you like Zero Two? Personally, not the biggest fan of Frontier, but and Zero Two is just basically it's adventure but not as good. More unnecessary. But
Yeah,
adventure is nostalgic. Uh, it's
it fucking works.
yeah.
Like, okay,
The,
the budget ain't quite there, but it fucking works. It's so cool seeing how like you they're okay. This is actually really after this time because the Digimon reboot is happening right now.
yep.
It's still happening. They actually just got to a bunch of stuff with War Greymon, and yeah, you can tell if you compare the two, like they spend so much more time with the characters in the original that you get a real like a good feel for who these Destined are in this show. And like I mean we watched a bit of the reboot for the new Digimon, and there's
Who
stuff
fell off?
there's stuff that works, but it's just
I don't know. I think they got hit with the COVID.
maybe
Yeah, like
it
I hate that they didn't make the full Digivolutions for all the rest of them.
yeah, yeah. The only ones that matter are Agumon and Gabumon. Oh wait, no. Is it Gabumon?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Agumon and Gabumon. They're the only ones who get Digivolutions.
that's it. Everyone else just gotta suffer.
And like, it sucks because like, I love all the characters. But I mean, I think it's still fine. The new one's fine. But just Adventure is just so good. Also, I have a sick love for the dub because the dub is so dumb.
Oh my god.
It
Yeah.
has my favorite line in all of Digimon and possibly all of like American cartoons. Why do you get the pizza while I get the crust? Fucking Pakalamon. Like,
That is in the I think the second to the last episode
yep,
of the entire show, and they have time for a dumb joke like that.
man,
That's just
that's good stuff.
that's four kids, right?
Yeah.
They were in charge of that. So
Speaking of amazing dubs, Yu-Gi-Oh.
oh yeah, speaking of, yeah, like if this is it, you know what? It deserves to be right above there because yeah, that it is.
Yu-Gi-Oh is just good TV, and it's dumb. It's dumb how important a children's card game is. Obviously, you have the abridged series, and that's great. But sometimes I feel like you don't need the abridged series. Yu-Gi-Oh on its own is its own abridged series because it's so stupid. I love Kaiba. I wish I was Kaiba. I there are so many things he says in the show that just make me think, wow, they don't give a fuck. I love when Darts is like, if you if you attack, all of your friends will die, and I was like, big deal. I've ruined the lives of several employees today. I'm the CEO of a company, and just attack guys.
Yeah,
Fuck them. Or in the in a recent episode, because there's an abridged series going on. In a recent episode, it has like the four kids dub, and Kai was like, uh, "Remember, anyone who's late for registration to the KC tournament is disqualified. Mokuba, make sure Wheeler's late." And that's the real dub. It's great. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is great. I played the game for a long time. The card game. It's one of the better card games. Yeah, it just works. Serial Experiments Lane. You haven't watched it. I've watched it. It's fucking weird. It's one of those things where like you're watching it and you know you're watching something great, but you just can't put your finger on like I not I'll say I'm the dot hack guy where I watch Sign and I get all this shit from the script and I can talk about it endlessly. Lane, it feels like it's one of those where there's probably a lot to talk about, but I'm not the guy to do it. There's just there's so much to it, and it's beautiful. It's definitely a beautiful show. Like there's just something about the aesthetic and the vibe you get. It's a creepy show. Lane also, by the way, is made by the guy who makes Digimon Tamers.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
And it makes sense because Digimon Tamers like has a darker feel. And he also did a few of the the darker episodes in Zero Two, and I think Adventure as well. So like this is just his type of thing. Like in Lane, I always remember like it's the start of every episode. Present day, present time, and it's like I mean, it's the show trying to tell you like this is meant to be sort of a timeless show. It's supposed to be about the future, and it kind of predicted a lot of things. Uh, but yeah, it's good shit. I'll probably go like rewatch it. Dragon Ball, the original.
Uh, Dragon Ball, it's a classic.
Yeah.
Like, it's really okay. Like we started with Z.
Yes.
Like we didn't watch the original for a good while because, of course, that's not what we were introduced to back in Toonami.
Piccolo was never a bad guy for me.
Yeah, never, never. It was weird, and they would talk about it, but you just kind of assume that like, oh, okay, I guess he got better. But yeah, then after a while, they ran out of episodes of Z, and they started playing old. They got the rights to play old Dragon Ball episodes, and that old original Dragon Ball is so much fun, and it feels so genuine, and it's back when it was a gag when it was a gag manga.
Yeah.
Like it's way more lighthearted, but then after a while, like the Sakuga kicks in, and the like
Some of the
it,
best fights.
yeah, some of the best fights in all of
Creative.
Dragon.
Because like Z, if they're like, I have a lot of criticisms of Z. Uh, Even though it's, we'll find on this list, I give it a 10. I have to give it a 10. But like, if there's one thing about Z, it's the fights are nowhere near as creative as in Dragon Ball. Like, if you go back and look at the fight between Goku and Tien, like the types of moves that they do, like every fight is like, okay, remember when Goku fucking like made a tornado? Like he did that. He just like fucking spun around and just made a tornado and like threw a tornado at like Indiana. I'm pretty sure he did that. Like,
I remember when Krillin beat someone because he didn't have a nose.
oh yeah, the stinky guy. And I think yeah, Goku reminds him, Krillin, you can't smell him. You don't have a nose. And Krillin's like, wait,
From from then on, canonically, Krillin doesn't have a nose. That's just it.
and that makes no sense. But what? Then again, uh, Jackie Chun also blew up the moon,
Yeah,
so
I,
shit don't make sense.
I don't remember when they brought it back,
Apparently
but
they did with the Dragon Balls, right?
maybe. But then Piccolo destroyed it again. I don't remember when they brought it back again either.
Yeah. All I know is that planet should be fucked several times over, but it's not. Whatever. Dragon Ball's great. You know, uh, bit meandering,
Yeah,
but it's a gag manga.
again, like and Super, like, I was really hoping that Super would fix the power scaling problem, and it in parts it did, but it's got a lot of issues, and a whole lot of it involves just characters not getting their due. You know, rip all Vegeta fans. But if Super's not doing it for you, treat yourself. Go back to Dragon Ball. Enjoy that shit.
Yeah. Samurai Champloo.
Ah, yeah, like Samurai Bebop. Yes,
I love the OP. I love the ED. I love the feel. I love the episode where they get high. I love the baseball episode where they die. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
like
There's a whole lot of there's a whole lot of really cool shit. There's a whole lot of really dumb shit.
it's weird. It's in this like old samurai time, but they have hip hop.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's just it's a weirdo, but it's so cool. It's just and it has some of the coolest samurai fights. I love the way Mugen fights. He's just so cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like breakdance samurai. Yeah, yeah. I also like I like the episode where they get into like tagging
Yeah.
and and Mugen goes like, "This is what my name means," and he draws a symbol for infinity, and like that's what invented it, I guess. Like there's a lot of dumb stuff, but also the animation is great when it needs to be.
I think it's a Sergio Watanabe, right? Am I right?
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Watanabe.
Yep. And yep. There's he makes gold. That's what he
Yeah.
does. Speaking,
The only problem with it is that Cowboy Bebop exists.
I mean,
That's the only problem with it. But
I don't give it points off for that. But still, speaking of samurai anime,
ah,
Rurouni Kenshin.
here. Okay, so I completely agree with your score for Rurouni Kenshin. I think I do. Only half of the show is good.
You know what?
That
You're
half is really, really good.
yeah.
Only half of the show is any good.
To me, it's weird because like the middle part of the show always kind of deletes from my mind, and I like the beginning and I like the end, but then it's just kind of a blur. I don't like the end.
No, no. Shishio isn't the end. Shishio is the middle,
Really?
actually. After that, there's like a bunch of other seasons, a bunch of other guys that show up and other problems that Kenshin has to deal with. And they all mostly suck.
You know what?
There's a part where he fights where he's gotta fight knights and shit. And there's a part where he has to fight like uh he has to fight Christianity.
Did he win?
Yeah.
Did he kill?
Christianity never stood a
Did
chance.
he kill Jesus?
Uh, sort of.
Uh, all right. So I'll be real. There's
That's
no way I've seen 94 episodes of Rurouni Kenshin.
like I said. Half of the show is really fucking good. Everything up until dealing with Shikyo is great.
Yeah, it's still an 8 to me.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah. Feel free to stop there.
All right. Next is a me one. Prince of Tennis. Uh, Prince of Tennis is amazing. It's just a great sports anime. Uh, I love all the stupid tennis moves that they do because, all right, so sports anime has this thing where when when they're playing the sport and they do a super move, they're like, "Oh, it's that super move." Really? What's the super move do? Oh, it does this. Okay, and from then on, everyone has full knowledge of the super move. Like everyone, and they even know the name of it. So it's really stupid. And Prince of Tennis was one of the first that did this. That being said, it's so funny and so cool. I don't care. Ryoma Echisen's a fantastic character, I don't think he's that deep, but he's so cool. I wish I was real in Etches In. I would be slaying so much puss. Uh, it also, again, like I just want to mention some of the shots are so stupid. I remember Tezuka, the captain. He has a move called the Zero Shiki fucking drop shot, where he hits it and then it hits the ground and it spins and goes right back into the net. And it's so broken and stupid. And that's not even his stupidest move. His stupidest move is the fucking Tezuka zone, where the way he hits the ball back to you, it curves it in a way that when his opponent hits it back, no matter how they hit it somehow goes back to him. And the way they visualize it as like a hurricane that's surrounding Tezuka. And that's just the Tezuka zone. You're in the zone. You can't get out of it. No matter how you hit this ball, it's going right back to me. So like he doesn't move from his spot. And he makes you move left, right, left, right, left, right. Meanwhile, he stands perfectly still just because you're in the Tezuka zone. And it's fucking bullshit. And it's hilarious. It's a dumb sports anime, and it's one of my favorites. I've watched it probably like 3 times. I like sports anime when they're good. Naruto.
Mm, yeah.
Naruto.
Uh, Naruto. Naruto. Naruto has a lot of problems. Naruto has a ton of problems. Naruto has a shit ton of problems.
Naruto has 99 problems, but it's a great show.
It's a it it
It's legendary.
it is.
The fact is, if you go on Twitter and you just mention like who's your top 5 Naruto characters, suddenly Naruto will be trending all over America because Naruto has one of the best casts in the shonen. Most people have a favorite. It's very diverse, and you can name them all. You know all of their quirks. Naruto was just really really good at defining its cast and making you like them. You know, some people are fucking Rock Lee stands. They think he should be the main character. You know, some people like I've seen people stand 10-10 somehow. And the fact that everyone knows that that's weird, like, just goes to prove that, like, you know Naruto. Because who the fuck's gonna stand the chick who throws fucking kitchen knives at you?
Yeah, yeah. It's so crazy how like over the years I started off loving Naruto, and then I went to mildly disliking it, even hating it, but still loving it all the same. And after all this time, with every bit of like with all the hindsight in the world, I have to just be like, what keeps me coming back? Like the characters are a lot of fun, and the world is fun. Like
Yeah.
uh like Shippuden was very meandering at first, but I remember a huge fire was lit underneath everyone once they explained how ninjutsu worked. And the episodes where they explained to Naruto like how what type of chakra he has, how the elements work, things like that. When they were actually explaining things about their world, that's where just like people started to really pay attention again, because it was huge. And again, the world is so much fun. You want to sort of be in this world.
Everyone's seen Naruto. It's just a show everyone's seen, and everyone knows its problems. Saying that Naruto has problems is so obvious,
It is.
but you still love Naruto. It's a it's just a show everyone's seen and everyone has a love for it, and it's legendary. There's something about it. ReZero.
That's And I noticed that the second season specifically.
I mean, whenever like another season comes, I just talk about the show.
Oh, okay,
So
cool. Yeah, ReZero is uh yeah. So throughout season one, Natsuki Subaru kind of sucks, but
This
throughout
latest season.
the yeah, yeah, they justify why he sucks in like throughout the entire thing. And yeah, and in this, especially in this season, that's really turned around.
And they've done it so well. They've done it in a way that he's still the same cringe lord that you knew from season one, but he's learned a lot. And the way he acts is justified, but also he knows he needs to be better. And just the mystery in this show, there's so much to it. I think it has like I remember season one of Attack on Titan when like the whole show was mystery, and now we have the latest season and all the mysteries are being solved, and like it's kind of great. Like ReZero feels like that. It feels like we have so much mystery, and when all this shit is finally out in the open, we might be looking back on ReZero as just one of the greatest like anime like of all time.
If it sticks the
At
landing,
least the greatest isekai.
it like it's kind of amazing to me just like how powerless in a way like not Natsuki Subaru is.
Yeah,
Like
so many isekai characters start off so powerful, and technically, Subaru's power is incredibly powerful. It's more powerful than any other isekai protagonist, but it just gives him no way of fighting.
yeah, yeah. And because of that, he like his life is a living hell.
Yeah,
Like the shit that he goes through, all the crazy ass ways that he has to die, and all of the horrifying things that he has both done and seen. Like you can't call it anything less than hell, and yet he perseveres through it, and and that's really cool. I think there were like three episodes in a row at least where it showed Natsuki Subaru just breaking down and crying, and each time it felt justified, even though like if you look at it in a row, it's kind of ridiculous. But they're all so both horrifying and in some parts amazing.
yeah.
Even some of the side material is actually really good. Like I normally don't give a shit about side material. This one, I like I found myself actually sort of caring.
It's well written, and I'm glad it got this second season. I hope it continues because there's no way it's ending in a second season. And yeah, I hope it sticks the landing because there's just something about an anime that sticks the landing. High score girl.
Uh, yeah, High School Girl is also really really good. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did. Like High, High School Girl, just like because they're all 3D models, and parts of the first season admittedly look kind of rough, and you don't expect as much from a show that looks like this. But oh, the main character actively takes advice from Guile,
Yeah, his inner guru is Guile from Street Fighter.
and that's so cool. If you're an old GC fan, this is a show that you like. It has to speak to you on some level,
Like,
and also especially if you're into the old arcades and everything. Like there's a whole lot of representation from old fighting games and old arcade games.
it's not just Street Fighter. It's Darkstalkers. It's Virtua Fighter. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw King of Fighters in there. Or Fatal Fury. Yeah, there's Fatal Fury. Uh, yeah, and here's the fighting games are what got me into it because there's a anime about fighting games. Holy shit! But then the romance keeps me. I think it's a really good romance.
And especially because like the main girl doesn't talk.
Yeah,
It's so weird. It's such a weird choice because they probably could have had her actually talk, but she doesn't. Everyone else does, but it works.
yeah. And I like the main character. He's not your Joe Everylead, and I like that he sticks to his guns. You know, he's not gonna drop his hobby, the thing he loves, uh, just to change for someone. The romance is second in his life, but that's kind of what makes him work. It's what makes the girl love him,
Yeah,
and just it's a really good partnership. It shows why these characters are compatible, and
because like in a way he can sort of read her mind.
yeah, he's the only person in the world who can understand her, even though she doesn't talk.
Yeah. Also, this show, like you can tell, whoever wrote the show, they really like they grew up in the arcade scene.
Yeah.
They must have grown up in the arcade scene because like there's some references there that are very specific.
The thing that got me was in the first couple episodes. I think either the first, second episode where he talks about throw J.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in old school fighting games, especially old school like Street Fighter 2, throwing was fucking broken, and it was called a dark art. It was even in certain arcades, it was to not use throws. It was kind of an unspoken rule. You don't throw people because throwing is like cheesy and broken. So he did that to fuck her up, to fuck the girl up, and he's just so scummy about it, and she beats the shit out of him because he fucking throws her. And I love it because this guy, whoever wrote this, grew up in old arcades, and there were fights about this shit.
Actually, that reminds me of the scene. I think it's in season 2 where he's in the arcade and uh he's in the arcade. He beats a random dude at I think it's a Street Fighter, and right after the match, he sees the guy raging, and he immediately gets out of the cab and gets into like he makes a fighting pose.
He's like, oh,
It's like,
here we go. It's time to fight. Like, I think it's a natural part of what's going to happen.
and he's ready for the arcade brawl, and he has a fighting style now, and like that's also that was also very much a part of the arcade scene as well.
Yeah, I wish I'd grown up in the arcade scene. We were we were Nintendo babies.
Very, very sheltered
Very
when it
sheltered.
came to that.
Man, the thing
Like
like why did we become smashers? Why, God? No,
Like I would have loved to have been threatened with a knife at an arcade.
man, I'd have gotten stabbed for my game. Boku no My Hero Macadamia Nut.
So season 3,
Again, that's the whole show.
well, yes,
I know you like to separate shit.
and I got distracted by the label there. Okay,
How's the whole show?
the whole show,
I gave it an 8.
like
I like it. Even though recent developments have shown the holes in My Hero Academia, I think it's great.
um, you know what? I think it's pretty apt that the the comparison that I would make, uh, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, it's like being a fan of Avengers movies. Like there people who talk shit about this kind of stuff. It's mostly like you don't like the popular thing, and you don't like how overblown the popular thing got. My Hero Academia is really good. It's really good. Probably not as great as people say it is. For the heights that the hype goes to, it's probably like yeah, like you said, like it's probably like an 8.
Yeah,
It's got issues. Midoriya's not particularly interesting, especially because, well, I mean, he's the main character. His character growth is supposed to be a bit stunted. Uh,
I think I was talking about this in an earlier part. Midoriya, Midoriya's problem is that his goal isn't like he's not challenged on his goal all too much. Like his goal is to become the next All Might. You know, he needs to be the new symbol of peace, right? And the things that stop him are the things that stop everybody. There's nothing that particularly challenges him as a person.
yeah, like his values aren't challenged really. At no point does he wonder. Okay, actually, no. In season 3, when he has to choose to let the little girl go
Yeah,
with the big bad guy,
that's probably the best scene in the show.
that it sort of might be because he has to deal with the fact that he's got to like he has to
Let this girl go.
and be abused for a little bit longer. He has to make that choice, and Lemillion's there at the time, and he can make that choice, but it's still it it's enough to challenge his
Yeah.
morality.
And I love that, you know, it's one of those things where Lemillion was supposed to be the guy who gets All Might's power, right? And like Lemillion is making the choice that he should be making. It's the correct choice of, you have to let this girl go because it's going to ruin the plan. You can fight him right now. Not to mention, you don't have backup. Meanwhile, Midoriya wants to fight him. In fact, if Lemillion wasn't there, there's a good chance he would have. And while that's not the correct choice, it's definitely the choice All Might would have made. And Lemillion didn't make that choice. And he's the one who was supposed to get One for All. But he didn't. Midoriya did.
And like and just it needs more scenes like that where
You're
where
challenging the character in his base morals.
exactly a lot of the scenes that work, because that's the best scene that works for Midoriya. But there's other scenes for other characters that work for them too, where they are challenged on their own stuff.
What is
It's the reason why so many people love Bakugo.
Yeah. I mean, there are some stupid motherfuckers who hate Bakugo, and they don't get it. They just don't understand. Uh, what I will say, I love the cast. I think the cast is great, and shonen animes live and die.
Yep, and this is a really good one.
We had just passed Bleach. Bleach, I gave it a 6. And when you think about Bleach's cast, like just think about how like useless everyone besides Ichigo is.
Oh yeah, it hits the Goku problem really, really early.
And just like it's unfortunate because like those side characters can be really cool. I love Chad.
Like
Like his fucking stupid Escriet arm. And I like when he's in Hueco Mundo and he fucking beats that one guy. It's like Labre. All his
and he punches a skull into the wall behind him.
that's his coolest scene.
But also that the very in that scene, the very season that scene is in, immediately he becomes useless.
Yep.
And like everyone is useful up until they save Rukia in that season, in the season before, and then of course most of the filler's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And just like, I mean, we're not talking about Bleach,
I know.
but still.
But comparing it to like a bad shonen anime and a good shonen anime like My Hero Academia, the cast just it carries it so much.
Oh, even the last movie that came out was really good.
Yeah, I liked both movies. The second movie was definitely better, but I like that they show up in theaters. It feels like an experience. It feels like you get to go and I think we're gonna see every My Hero Academia movie that comes out.
Well, I mean, maybe not in theaters.
Oh yeah, depending on the pandemic, of course.
But besides that, yeah, no, and like it's also like it's you could say it's Naruto with fewer of the problems.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way. Like the supporting cast gets a bit, they get more time for themselves. you know, yeah, Midoriya has the chance to be better. Hopefully, he gets it. And yeah, like uh,
Shingeki no Kyojin.
yeah, Attack on Titan's godlike.
You know, you can talk about each individual season and how individually they are, but Attack on Titan as a whole, I was just saying it a couple days ago to my brother, and imagine if Attack on Titan sticks the landing.
Yeah,
If it sticks the landing, it's going to be top 5 anime of all time. We're talking in the running for number 1. And it's even crazier because they changed studios last, like it's not Wit, it's Mappa now, and they're doing good. They're not as good as Wit. Let's be real. I don't think they look as good as Wit, but quite possibly because of the nature of what the show became, Mappa like might be better for this, like the more modern setting. But yeah, this is a show that's been, I don't know, was it 10 years in the making?
I don't know.
I remember it coming out when we were in high school, or when I was in high school at least. Like my senior year.
I wasn't paying attention to manga back then.
No, I'm talking anime. I remember watching it, and like every time it would come out, we would like watch,
Oh
go
yeah,
to my
yeah.
room and just like watch Attack on Titan. Holy shit, what's happening? And man, the fact that it's taken this long and it's possibly going to stick the landing is just intense. It's amazing to watch.
It yeah, and like this has been said a few times, but like it's so crazy to me that the writers straight up like the mangaka themselves like just showed everyone the last panel
Yeah,
at one point, just showed everyone how this show is going to end because it doesn't matter. You couldn't possibly understand even knowing what that was.
that being said, if you're a manga reader and you're spoiling anyone into Attack on Titan, you're the worst kind of scum, and may God have mercy on your soul. Piece of shit.
But
But yeah, um,
that's a great
there's not much to say about Attack on Titan. It's just like, oh yeah, here we're getting into the nines now. Uh, it's just great TV, and you can't get better. What's even better about Attack on Titan is you can show it to anybody. It's one of those shows, it's why it's going to be top 5, because the top 5 anime are anime usually that you can show to anyone. You're talking Death Note, Full Metal Alchemist, like these shows that don't have to be.
and I mean it says something that for for this latest season, every episode has been trending.
Yeah,
Every single episode.
everyone's watching.
A new episode comes out, stay out for Twitter because there be spoilers.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's nuts, and it's going to be nuts, and I really hope it sticks the landing.
I have faith. Made in Abyss is what I mean. You can watch it. Made in Abyss is great. Made in Abyss is fucking dark, and it's a mature fairy tale. There's some stuff in it that you kind of got to square with yourself uh, to just say, you know what, they're telling a mature story, and as long like I don't feel like they're being gratuitous. I think they're doing it to show the danger that these children are in, like by going into this fucking hole. Like the whole plot of the show. I mean, the concept of the show is there's this big hole, the abyss, and the further down you go in it, the harder it is to come back up. Like even if you go down like 100 feet, like if you walk back up, you start to have like you start getting sick. Like there's a sickness. So at a certain point, when you go far enough down, you just can't come back up. And there's a point where it's like no man's land. No one's ever come back from it. And the main character's mom is there, and she's a child, and she wants to find her mom, and she's going down there, and it's terrifying, and mostly because this is happening to children, and it's just this really dark, creepy fairy tale, and it's beautiful. It's probably one of the most beautiful like anime that like TV anime that you could possibly find. Yeah, Made to Miss. It's so good. It's also it could be a tearjerker at time. See, we already talked about My Hero Academia. Uh, I talked about Iron Blood Orphans before. Uh,
Cool. Uh, yeah. Uh, I'll say, uh, season one is really really good. Season two, is very unfortunate.
I disagree.
See, season two, like it's not all that. It's not all bad, but yeah, it, I don't much care for. At a certain point, everything goes wrong to the point that it's almost comical how everything goes wrong.
Yeah,
It's like literally every
all of
single
your
little thing,
all of your favorite characters' dreams were shit. Didn't matter.
everything that everyone tries doesn't work. And like I get and the ending, okay, the very end of it, like it in the end, like they 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 get what they need to out of it, but I am just left with the feeling of like so
So no one ends up happy.
like a couple do and some end up where they have to be, but just like it's one of those like I think I forget which of the mainline Gundams it is. I think it's Double O, where where the bad guys win in the end, and you have to sort of just deal with it. And but it went for sort of that feeling, but in that one I remember it working a bit better, and it was just
The only Gundams I've ever really seen uh, are Wing, which is my favorite, G, and Iron Blood Orphans. And I love G. It's fun. And yeah, I really enjoyed Iron Blood Orphans. I like the whole show, both seasons. I think it's tragic, but the ride is incredible. It's beautiful. I love Gundam Barbados. That's one of my favorite Gundam designs. I love how everything is just hard. They don't use beam swords. They use fucking hunks of metal.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't use lasers. They use bullets.
There's a really good running theme in the first season of like anyone who tries to be a hero fails.
Yeah,
Like the main cast, they're not trying to be heroes, they're just trying to get a job done. They're just trying to live. Meanwhile the members of Galahorn, they're trying to act like warriors. They're trying to act like gentlemen. And
it has no
always
place.
yeah, and that's what these kids are fighting. Like they're fighting, like they're using guerrilla tactics, and they're cheating. They're being sort of unfair, and at the same time, if they were to fight on fair terms with these guys, they would lose. And I'll always remember the scene where one of the members of Galahorn, she like steps out of her mobile suit, and she and like two other guys, they're standing in the snow. They're waiting for the members of Tekadon to come out, and they're like, we're going to take on your Gundam, and we're going and like, here's the deal: if we win, you have to listen to us. And they're laying down terms, and while they're laying down terms, just Barbados comes along and just knocks one of the guys out while he's standing outside of his mobile suit. Just splatters him into just paste, and that's it. And there, she's just stunned. She's stunned that she's stunned that they would just be so dishonorable. there's a real theme with that throughout the entire show of just survival. It's not about being a warrior. It's about surviving. That's what they're trying to do.
I liked all the reactions when they realized, oh shit, we're fighting children.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm not a child, I'm space debris.
like yeah, and that's also another thing.
Human debris.
Yeah, and that's also another thing of like in a lot of what Gundam became after Wing was
War is hell.
pretty kids using giant robots, and every now and then there will be a mention of like, oh, but they're just a kid, they're so young, and I can't believe they're piloting a Gundam. In Iron Blooded Orphans has a lot of dying children, and that's sort of the point, and that's nice.
Mm-hmm. You remember a lot about them.
Yeah.
More than me, to be honest.
Second season has someone literally they suddenly get shot in the face, and it's almost funny. I don't like the second season.
Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah. What I'm not wrong about.
Like I would actually put Iron Blooded Orphans lower. As if I was judging it as a whole. Now because it's the second season, I would only put the second season lower.
If everyone is not special, maybe you can be what you want to be.
Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho is great.
Mob Psycho it's amazing. There'd be like
one knows how to write a story.
Yeah. The animation is amazing. The story is really really good. Very touching moments. Season 2 of Mob Psycho might even be better.
It's probably better. Is better. I'm just gonna say it. No, it's better. From episode 1. Like I love Mob's mentality. I love that one went with the same concept of character. Here's a character with all the power you could possibly want, but it doesn't make him happy. You know what makes him happy? Working out. Like, psychic powers aren't going to get you a girlfriend. You know what's going to get you a girlfriend? Working out and getting fit.
Just improving on yourself.
Yeah. Self improvement. Real self improvement. That's going to get you girls. And girls are what make you happy. And that's what makes Mob happy. And psychic powers are never going to do that.
Except for one time.
Except for one time, and it's in episode 1 of season 2, and it's the best moment ever because he earns it. Like, no, I'm a psychic. You're not going to lose your diary today.
It's the script.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Mob Psycho is amazing.
Yeah, it's got so many moments in it like that just they feel like breakthroughs in either characters like Mob himself he's a really really likable character. He's really cool. Reagan is amazing.
It's my life.
And he finally gets an episode to himself, a set of episodes, the 2-part episode in season 2. I will always remember the end of the one of the last scenes in that 2-part episode where he just looks and he after everything that happened, after his life is sort of falling apart, the the lies that he has told everyone, they're finally starting to fall apart, and it all just sort of hits him how much he really cares about Mob, and he just looking into the camera and acknowledging him, and what happens after that, it's so good.
It's a great payoff.
That is just a great moment, and it's in a way it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts that that might be the culmination of Reagan's arc.
Yeah, I like that part at the end where that badass teleporting psychic's like fighting everybody, and then Reagan shows up, and he's like, "Wait, I don't sense any sacred power from him. That means he's weak, right?" Then no, that must mean that he's so strong, I can't see his magical power, like his psychic powers. Oh God!
Like, yeah,
And I think his move, it's self defense punch.
yeah, special move where it's just him punching, but he yells self defense. Yeah, and it's just like he just walks into the scene and punches him, and that's how he goes down. And it's so the comedy is pure gold.
Yeah.
Also, that episode of the teleporting psychic is really
Oh man.
it's really fucking well at like it's a that's a standout episode among other really crazy ass animated episodes. It like the camera work. The camera work is mostly where it shines.
You know
Just
what people keep? I say people. It's like an episode we forget. Episode 5 of season 2, where he goes into uh, that other world and
oh,
fights that guy.
like I'm just gonna say like the dreamscape.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy fuck! I even forget that episode sometimes, but that episode,
I don't forget that episode. Yeah, that's one of those like we're like yeah, Mob's probably he might be the strongest, but this guy also strong.
with the vengeful spirit.
Yeah, yeah, like he's just like you finally sort of meet someone who Mob probably couldn't actually beat.
Yeah, his power is not enough. And yeah, and then that guy challenges Mob on his morals, and it works. One knows how to write shit. Speaking of One Punch Man,
Uh
this one we can separate.
yeah, okay.
Season one might be one of the greatest seasons of anime of all time.
Season 1 is fantastic.
Season two
Sucks.
sucks.
It's got a big 3D centipede in it. And it has Metal Bat. Metal Bat is cool. I like him. He's a Bancho superhero. The rest of it sucks.
It sucks so much, and it's even more unfortunate because you have to compare it to season one, and season one was just like it ruled the world at one point.
The and it's so weird. I haven't read the manga for One Punch Man, and I wonder how well it was adapted because for some reason season 1 quite good. Season 2 really sucks, and it just so happens it happened like this is at the same time that they got a new studio to animate it, and they couldn't do anywhere near as good a job
As Madhouse,
as Madhouse. Nah,
it's just Madhouse is so fucking.
they're godlike, and it's so weird. Like just because you can't animate it as well,
Doesn't mean you have permission to do it badly.
yeah, it also doesn't mean that shouldn't mean that the writing gets worse. For some reason, it did though, and I wonder if that's an adaptation thing, or if it was, or if that season is just written badly in the manga too. I don't know. I would love clarification on that.
I trust one because he wrote Mob Psycho, or maybe Mob Psycho is just that idea but better.
It might be because yeah,
But yeah, nevertheless, the fact that one is able to have two, let's be real, he knocked two out of the park.
yeah,
Like, who does that with his type of? Because that's the inspiring part. His art is not good. Well, wait, let me phrase it. It's good in a like if an artist looks at his art and is like, "Wow, there's a lot of things this guy does that like the framing of what he does, and the way he like writes characters and like puts makes the comic work
like
is good." But the technical parts of one aren't good.
he's really good at showing emotion in
Yeah.
his art.
Like, I mean, that's how Mob Psycho works. Mob Psycho tries to adapt one's artwork. Like they have to like go like draw it down, like not try as hard, or maybe even try harder. Who knows? Maybe it's harder to adapt one's style because obviously like Madhouse went fucking crazy. One Punch Man, like One Punch Man is fucking gorgeous.
They might have gone even crazier with Mob Psycho,
I
honestly.
think so.
But yeah, like what like half of One Punch Man is really good. The other half is not. But the first half is really really good.
I still hope if there is a season, like maybe it can come back. I still think if there is a season three, of course,
Yeah,
you know it has me.
I gotta know.
I gotta know. But man, season two was so disappointing. Shirobako, you didn't watch it. I did. Shirobako's great. You know, if you are into the anime industry, you want to watch stuff about the anime industry, you should watch Shirobako. It has a cameo by Hideaki Anno. It's great. That's a pretty cool moment. Uh, yeah, it just goes in depth into the making of anime and all the drama that happens, and it takes a very realistic approach to it. Yeah, watch it. Kuroko no Basket. Uh, Either my favorite or my second favorite sports anime. Probably my second favorite. Ikaru no Go really hits for me, but Kuroko no Basket is just so fucking cool. Like it's a production IG joint, and just something about. I mean, not something. But I know it has a really cool concept. Basketball is a sport that is dominated by talent and genetics. Because in basketball, if you are short, you are objectively a worse player. You you can't change your height. You can't train to be taller. You some people are just born 6'4", and you can't change that. So in a world dominated by giants, Kuroko is a character. He's a guy who's like probably like 5'8", maybe 5'7". He's a short guy, and he plays by passing the ball. But his passes are amazing. He can like curve the bullet, or sometimes he fucking punches the basketball and it goes from one side of the court to the other. And the story centered around the generation of miracles. These five players who in junior high fucking obliterated the competition. Like they won against a team so hard that uh, they were playing this one team and they humiliated them by letting them score to get their score to a certain number so that they could spell out a word on the scoreboard. Like, and it's awful because the opponents were like, yeah, like we're doing so well against these guys, and they're like, no, you're not. And then they look at the scoreboard and it spells out like a fucking word, and they're like, oh fuck, they only let us score because they wanted to spell it. It's fucked. And yeah, it's just the story about these five amazing players who they encapsulate, you know, what makes a great basketball player. And Kuroko, who has a different style of play. And the story goes from there. And it's just, you know, basic sports anime stuff where characters do things that they probably shouldn't do. There's a lot of thinking in between the matches that probably don't happen. A lot of use of time that probably doesn't make real sense, but it works because it's cool. Best part of the show is Daichi Amine, the one of the antagonists. Some of the best sports animation you could ever see. Just watch it if you want to get fucking hyped. It's also not. Yeah, it's really well paced. It has I think 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons, and it goes by like that. It was amazing when it came out, and yeah, fucking love comedy. Fucking this one, yeah. Snafu, my teen romantic comedy. I love it.
Yep, yep, hot. Yep, Hachiman is the man,
Yeah,
and like this is this is one I remember. Like, okay, for Snafu, I love it. I especially love that. Like, this is a show that it wasn't finished for the longest time, and I honestly can't believe it actually finished. I can't believe it got its last season and it was allowed to actually finish. And it has a great ass ending.
You don't know, do you? They're continuing it with OVAs.
I don't care. I If there's more, fine. Who like whatever.
I hope it works.
I hope it works too. I'm not worried. This is awesome. This this show is really good. Like Hachiman has
A rap battle.
they for some reason they stuck in a rap battle. It's so damn
It
good.
just
It involves characters with problems, and also it's got like they've all got their own like mental hangups, and I love the attitude that the show has and that the main character has, where his his biggest power is how much he thinks he's uncool.
yeah.
He like his biggest hang up is his biggest strength, and that he thinks that he's uncool. He thinks he brings nothing to the table, and yet he saved the day almost every time.
And the people who notice it are just like,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
yeah, you could just. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that one Chad guy. Uh, you know, he's everyone's best friend. He hates Hachiman for one reason. Like, you're everything I wish I could be. You sacrifice yourself for the sake of others, selflessly. But he also gets mad at him because like you don't have to do that.
Yeah,
You don't. You can find a way for everyone to win while not sacrificing yourself, dude. You don't have to be the asshole because you know because the easiest way to solve the problem is if there's a bad guy. There doesn't need to be a bad guy. It's real deep like that. It's real for high school problems it has pretty deep like solutions. It has real
uh,
complexity to it.
if there is a problem with the show, and honestly, this is a flavor thing and nothing more. It's that kids don't talk like this.
Nope.
Kids do not talk like this, and I laugh every time it happens. Where they
The inner monologues of like, oh, but how can she do this if X is this, but Y is this, but Y couldn't be this
and
because that's just a metaphor. And
these are characters that they drown themselves in metaphors, and even certain characters that aren't supposed to be talking like this, sometimes they do, and it's so weird when it happens. But that's fine because I mean, well, it's still really good.
I love honestly season three is my favorite season. I know it just happened, but like, season three is so good just because Hachiman's already complete by then, you know. And I my favorite part, strangely, even though there's a rap battle, my favorite part is when he gets those two guys to help out, and they're like, "Wait, he talks to this chick Ishiki. What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, like, isn't she like vapid or something?" He's like, "Yeah, she is, but you'll learn to love it." And it's amazing how comfortable he is around everybody and around like who he is now because of what he's become. And yeah,
It's also got a really good love triangle.
yeah, it's a good love triangle. It's all believable. You are not wrong for having a best girl.
Yeah, like between Yuki and Yui, like
And
you
Ishiki,
just okay. No, we're
that's
not including them. If
yes,
we
you
include
are.
fine, if we include her, we gotta include the teacher too.
Yep, do that. Fine with that.
All right, fine.
The teacher's the correct answer.
And she, no, I mean, she almost is. But yeah, but between Yuki and Yui, like it's hard to know exactly who, like, exactly who's the right answer until in
Yeah,
until the ending happens, and then you go, well, yeah, that's just the right one, huh? That just actually makes the most sense, and they do such a good job of like you. I didn't get the one that I wanted, but the show does a really good job of making me feel okay with it.
it's sort of like the Rem thing in ReZero, where like Rem is the easy way out, and it hurt because Rem is amazing. You know, I think a lot of men that I respect would choose her, but at the end of the day, Subaru is a man of action, and he's gonna go with Amelia. And at the end of the day, Hachiman's a man of action, and he's gonna go with who he goes with.
Yeah,
There's a great fucking romantic comedy. I love it. It's funny. It's romantic.
uh,
It's good.
the
Just
the
good.
yeah, the side characters are all really good.
Yeah.
It has a good representation for even like even shitty classmates that are around. You know, like the girl who's just there to like be like a hype man.
Yeah.
Yeah, even shitty classmates, they're represented quite well. So yeah, good, real good stuff. Definitely give that like that one. Like this one for me in my head, it's tied with Bunny Girl.
I can believe that.
It. I mean, they're practically the same show in some ways.
But on a side note, counteraction rising. Yeah, we are ready for the punchline. There's no use for all your gimmicks. Fucking Log Horizon.
Yep, Horizon. The the best background characters that have ever been in an anime ever.
The amount of work that goes into this show to make the world look filled with a bunch of people all living their individual lives is so great. It's like people compare this to Sale, and it's an obvious comparison. I'd compare it to Dot Hack. Just like the world building is really good, and the amount of detail they go into on how this place works now is great. When there is action, I think the action's actually really well done. Like there's a lot of like nuance to it, and yet the main character Shiroe, he's great. You know, I like hearing his thoughts. I love the raid in season 2. Uh,
It feels like how raids feel.
there's a season 3 now, and it's doing Log Horizon things, which is to say, it's talking and talking and talking. And I will say, as a person who loves Log Horizon, I'll watch it, but fuck, man, get to the point, get to something. I hope they get to something. Uh, that being said, I love Log Horizon. Like, it's still underrated. I feel it. And the people who are going to be watching season 3 after maybe binging season 2 and 1 and 2, uh, I hope that they realize that this is what they're asking for when they when they want more Log Horizon, because it's a whole mess of stuff. Now, Your Lie in April. I love it. There are people who hate it, and there are also people who are retarded. These are the same people. There's no difference. The drama's great. Characters are great. Music's great. I listen to the music still. I love Arima Kose. I think all of his problems make sense. Uh, it's a tragic story. It's a sad story. But the journey there is worth it. Beautiful. It helps that I'm a big fan of classical music, and just yeah, I don't know why people don't like this show. It confuses me. It baffles me.
I think it's people mostly going like I think it's people mostly like hating on melodrama.
Yeah,
You know, the same like it's sort of like the the same reason why you might talk shit about like Lovely Complex and other romance anime. Like I feel like that's a big part of it. But damn it, this show's so well animated. And the story is so like the characters are so well written. Yeah,
I
Armakose,
love
he's really good.
I love all the every concert. Every time there's a concert, it's like when they're playing music and like the thoughts going through their head and the music like works with it. And it's all made by people who definitely understand the music that they're using. They're not just throwing in random classical music. There's a reason Adi Makose plays Chopin. Uh, and yeah,
Also, fingers
yeah,
being animated. That's really really hard. And good on this show for doing that.
yeah. See, we already went through High School Girl. No Game No Life. You didn't watch all of it. I watched all of it. It's great. It's beautiful. Like it has a really cool like art style. Uh, it's fun. It's just a fun show. I haven't seen anything else. You know that there's like No Game No Life Zero, and it's like a movie or something. And I don't know. For some reason, I get the vibe that it has nothing to do with what I watched. Maybe I'm wrong, and I have to watch it just to prove it. But nevertheless, No Game No Life. I know that there's supposed to be. Well, I'm not. There's not supposed to be. I know people are hoping for a season two eventually, and I am too. It's just really fun world. A world where all that matters is how much of a gamer you know. Kill a kill. Trigger.
Kill la Kill is the quintessential trigger anime.
If you like Trigger, you like Kill a kill.
If you like Gynax, you like Trigger. If you like Trigger, you will like Kill la Kill. Uh, Kill la Kill is to trigger what Gurren Lagann is to Gynax.
Yeah.
Like it, arguably, I'd say that Kill la Kill reaches its point faster than Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
But what it loses in speed, you could say that Gurren Lagann maybe keeps. But still, either way, like this is also a show that filled with really fun characters, really fun moments. You know, Ryuko Matoi is like she's great.
Her design is
Her design is really really good.
Satsuki Kiryuin.
Satsuki is also
I love my favorite Sasuke moment is when she's wearing her skimpy outfit. She's fucking pensioned, and Ryuko's like, how can you stand all these people ogling you? And she's like, I'm powerful, bitch. Like these people ogling me. You think I care what the rabble think? And she's just bigger than Ryuko at that point because she knows what she is, and she doesn't give a fuck what anyone thinks. If these threads give me power, then fuck it. That's what it does. And it just shows so much confidence in what she is. She's not embarrassed by what she looks like. She's made powerful because of it. It's strangely feminist. Like and
there's technically a lot of nudity in the show.
Kill La Kill is about duality. Because is Kill La Kill a gratuitous show about like with gratuitous nudity that's really stupid? Or is it a very deep show talking about like all these crazy like there's whole books written about Kill La Kill and all the imagery that they use. Like people have research papers about this shit because there's a lot of nuance. Or you can just see it as a dumb fucking trigger show with a bunch of titties and action, dumb action. Yeah,
And you'd be right either way.
yep, and you are right because it's about duality. It's both, and it's great.
Like,
So we already went all that. So we already did that. Psychopaths. I think we'll stop at 50. No, the last 50 later. Yeah, we'll stop at 50. Psychopaths. I think I already talked about season 2 before, but yeah, Psychopaths is just season 1. This could have been a franchise to rival Ghost in the Shell. Like the Sybil system is just an amazing system. Like to like when you talk about like philosophy and futurism, the Sybil system is like an idea in someone's head. It's like a thought experiment. What if there was a system that it's like Minority Report that can tell if you are going to work in this system. You have a psychopath, and if your psychopath goes above a certain threshold, you are put into custody and you are re-educated. You know, you're taken out of the society essentially. And if it goes too far, you're fucking killed. So in a way, it's a murderous system. But strangely, the civil system has created peace. It's created a perfect society. You know, so it's doing good things, and it's just doing it in horrible, horrible ways. And it goes full on with that idea, and it's massively interesting. Tsunemori Akane is a great character. She's a fantastic character. Uh, but she needs her counterpart. I think his name is Kogami or Kogane or something. Let's see, yeah, Kogami Shinya. Yeah. And then also, Shogo Makishima is one of the best villains. Like, this is a fucking amazing show. Season 2 sucks dick. Yeah. Steins Gate. You don't watch that either. Watch Steins Gate. Time travel anime. Fantastic. Yeah. Hyoin Kyoma is a great character. This is like, no one needs to be told Steins Gate's great. It's a 10 on a lot of people's shows. Like a lot of people's like lists. I gave it a 9. It's a great show. Uh, the consequences of time travel, and it goes into that. Uh, it gets to its horrible places, and then it's also pretty funny. Uh, Fantastic art, and it gets to a good place. Steins Gate Zero, not as good, but I like it. I don't hate it. I have the visual novel right now. I'll play it eventually. Yeah, that's a good show. Spice and Wolf, I love it. Spice and Wolf, just a great romance with a side of economics. Strangely enough, yeah. Uh, I forgot the guy's name. I know Kraft Lawrence and Polo, a fantastic anime couple. They are perfect for each other. And yeah, this is just a really good romance, and with just a side of mercantilism, and it works, and it's beautiful, and you just kind of don't want it to end, but it does eventually. It's unfortunately one of those shows that just didn't end. Ooh,
oh, I know this one.
Full Metal
Cool.
Alchemist Brother.
Okay, yeah. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So, where to start? Um, I'll say the like
Let's state first that we like Brotherhood.
yeah. I'll say you are right with the 9 on that. That is the right score for Brotherhood.
Brotherhood's a great show, isn't it?
Brotherhood is great. Don't forget that.
You know what's better? The original Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, so Brotherhood is okay. Here's the thing where I'm very torn. Brotherhood is the better written show. It's better. Okay, it's better paced. Brotherhood is much better paced. than the original.
I mean, I think it's a coincidence because you say it's better paced. I think you need to eat paste if you think the Brotherhood is better than the original.
Like this Brotherhood is like it's like a really, really incredibly well built house. Okay, it's an incredibly well built house. The original is like it's a more interesting house. It's missing a few bricks here and there, and part of it's been replaced with a bounce castle, but it's a really interesting house. And so like one of these days gotta really get into all the things that the original does right because
The original just has a feel that I
it,
think Brotherhood is missing.
it's darker and like it explores its world better, I think. Like there's a bunch of episodes in the original that just that are there to remind you, oh yeah, don't forget, alchemy is horrifying and it'll fuck you up if you play with it.
Don't fucking touch swords.
Don't, yeah,
They'll cut you
fucking
wide open.
don't touch alchemy. And yeah, and that's the feeling that the original gets really really good. It does a great job with it. There's a lot of horrifying shit in the original. Also, the original has the very best version of quite a few characters, but
Scar.
yeah, it's got the best version of Scar. It's got the best version of oh my god, what's his name? What's his name? Best dad ever. World's best dad. Come on,
Best dad. Shout Tucker.
shout! It has the best. Okay,
I was thinking about actual good dads, but like, wait, you're saying yes.
so it's got the best version of Shao Tucker. When people talk about how much they hate Shao Tucker, they mean the one from the original.
Yeah.
They may not know.
It's because you spend so much time with Shout Tucker.
You spend so much time. There are so many episodes where you are around where you spend time around Shao Tucker and his family. And and then once everything happens with once he brings his family closer together.
Once his daughter does the fusion dance with the dog.
You like he deserves everything that he gets. And what's more, after that, he's still around.
Yeah, that motherfucker lives.
He is kept around and he turns himself he becomes the monster that he is inside. Like he actually gets everything he has
You
coming.
know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those Nazi scientists we kept for the Manhattan Project. Like, Shao Tucker deserved to die, but the government kept him because you know what? He made chimeras, and we need that.
That's very useful. And like and he winds up like he turns himself into a chimera and he winds up keeping his own memory. He's stable and he tries to bring back his daughter, but he can't quite do it. He can only bring back a weird furry version of her, and it's just a shell because she's already dead. Her soul is elsewhere if it ever truly existed, and it's and in the end he's just sort of left to care for this shell of his daughter that's not even really her. And yeah, Shao Tucker isn't just he is just an empty monster through and through. And you get so much of him in the original. Brotherhood, he's done in the first episode that he shows up in, and that's pretty much it. He's a footnote.
And you know, that's just one instance of the originality's superiority, of the original superiority. Uh, there's a few others, and then just a lot of stuff that Brotherhood does that I don't think is worth it. Like, I like Green Brotherhood.
Greed's way better in Brotherhood.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Greed is amazing in Brotherhood.
Uh, and the villain is interesting. For some reason, I think Dante's better.
Oh yeah, Dante fits more with the themes of the show.
You know, like this random, like
She's trying to accomplish exactly what the Elrics were trying to do as well. She's trying to ignore equivalent exchange. She's trying to live forever, and you know she'll stop at no end to she'll end entire countries just to last a little bit
the
longer.
Ishvalan War was, I think, done so much better.
It's very painted by the times. 9/11 had, I feel like it had a whole lot to do with how the Ishvalan War was portrayed.
And just
But
the idea that, like, I loved it. The first episode, Challenge the Sun, uh, it it shows like this church, and it's taken over by a pastor who's using alchemy as magic, and he's like fucking brainwashed everyone. And then by the end of the story, this city has become a war zone, and it's basically becoming a second Ishval. And you realize that the Elric brothers are at fault, and I think that's just so much more interesting than what happens in Brotherhood.
yeah, yeah, and also Scar is better in the original because he's a hypocrite.
Yeah,
He's way more of a hypocrite. He's hiding behind the idea of like he's murdering all these state alchemists, and he's hiding behind the idea that this is for their crimes against God, when really he's upset because his brother died.
yeah.
He's upset
Well,
upset because his brother died, and and but by the end of it, he actually does he doesn't he's not allowed to live. He's not allowed to live. He's done too many horrible things, but he gets a martyr's death, and he ends up dying for the right reasons.
yeah.
That's really in tune with his character.
Even the way he does alchemy is hypocritical. Like where he stops at the breaking down point, like he's just doing it as like a loophole. Like, oh, I'm not really doing alchemy.
Yeah, yeah,
Like just like hell, the arm that kills the state alchemist is my brother's arm. It's not really me.
yeah, yeah. It's just anything that he can that like any straw that he can grasp at just to
To justify what he's doing.
yeah. He's such a hypocrite, but he's also this cold-blooded murderer, and he's a threat throughout the entire story that he's in. He's
Like every time Scar shows up, Scar, you can just look at him just like, man, this guy, he's always battling with himself whether or not he's gonna kill Ed.
Meanwhile, there's a lot of I can't stress this enough. There's a lot of really good shit in Brotherhood.
Yeah,
There's too many things. The I don't like that Scar ends up having like a big dumb anime fight. He has a big dumb anime fight with the Fuhrer, and I don't think it makes any sense. And he reveals he's got the arm that destroys, but the arm that creates, and for some reason that gives him the power to have a big dumb anime fight with the guy with the sword. And I don't. It's a cool fight. Don't get me wrong. It's a really cool fight, but I also don't think that has it doesn't resonate as well.
I just think that the original had a better point, which
Well,
is strange because the Brotherhood was a retelling of the manga. You know,
it's one for one.
one for one, and it just
Well, it's because the original they didn't have like everyone knows this. The original they didn't have the entire manga to go off of. They had like maybe half of it, and because of that, the original gets hyper focused on specific characters, and what it has to make up what certain characters actually mean in the story. So, like uh, like well, what let's see, the homunculus, all the homunculi they get hyper focused, you
yeah.
know. Greed is only there for a little bit, but he's there to let Ed know he's gonna have to kill. You know, uh, Sloth as Sloth and Wrath as Ed's mom and his teacher's
Like
son.
I like that the homunculi were all previous human transmutations.
Yeah, yeah, and also they if you're gonna invoke the seven deadly sins, do something with that.
Yeah,
Sloth being Ed and Al's mom is great because it's implied that when she gets sick and dies, it's implied that she could have lived, but she gave up. She chose to stop living because she didn't have Hohenheim with her anymore. She felt she had nothing to live for. In a way, Sloth got to her. And that's why she died. And it also feeds into why Ed hates his dad.
uh,
And it's so good. I mean, well, like uh uh fucking what's Envy. I Okay, Envy's death in Brotherhood, I do like it, except well, they tried to make me feel bad for Envy. And I don't feel bad for Envy. Envy killed Mace Hughes.
yeah,
In the original, like you're allowed to hate Envy, but you do understand by the end why Envy is the way that they are. The big reveal for Envy being that he at one point was Hohenheim's son. That reveal is great, and that like they don't even go into it. They don't even go into it, but
it's implication.
yeah, the implication enough is that is all you need to get why Envy hates the Elric brothers and why Envy hates Hohenheim especially. And that goes in with the name as well. Envy. He envies these actual like the ones who were actually acknowledged as children. They were actually acknowledged as his sons. It all feeds into that. Even like they gave Lust more stuff to do, and unfortunately her stuff isn't very exciting. It's not very well paced, but there is like on paper it is there. Like her whole thing is that she's she is Scar's brother's girlfriend brought back to life and everything. And throughout her life, there have been men in her life that didn't love her. Like the one that there's this whole village that she goes to of people with bonitis. Like
My
I,
only regret is that I have bonitis.
it's it is just they have bonitis, and it's a really like it's kind of a silly episode because of everything that happens. But there's a guy there that she teaches alchemy to. She gives him a philosopher's stone and everything, and they meet up again later, and he says that he loves her and everything, but really he only loves her for the philosopher's stone. He thinks he cares about her, but she knows damn well that he doesn't actually. That he only wants her for what she can give him, and that's it. So basically, it's a whole thing of she doesn't actually like you know it. All the love that she ever feels is hollow. It's none of it's real. And that's a theme going on with her. Like there's so much that the original does because they had no choice but to do that. They had no choice. They had to hard focus on this stuff. And because of that, they don't have everything, but what they have is more detail. Brotherhood is still better built because again, the pacing is pretty bad in the original.
Yeah,
Brotherhood is still it's still better a better built show. It's just unfortunately it doesn't it's not as honestly it's just not as edgy. It's not as edgy. There's a whole bunch of stuff that ends in type anime fights, but that's as deep as they go. It's just not as deep as the original. Like at one point, father tries to eat the moon, I guess, and that's got a whole bunch of like a whole bunch of imagery that if you were into Japanese folklore, you'd know about that. I don't particularly care though. There's the the fight with there's the fight with what was it, Pride. I don't know exactly how that fight worked. When I think back on it, I wonder what happened. I guess he used up it. I don't know. It's weird. Uh, Lust has a really cool death.
Yeah,
Like I'll never take that death away.
that's the sickest fucking death.
And you know what? For what it's again for what it's worth, Greed had a really good one as well. Greed is awesome, but again, I just like there weren't enough. There a lot of it feels very clean in Brotherhood. A, interestingly enough, a lot of Brotherhood feels bloodless,
Well,
and so it's so weird. It's so weird having all these complaints, but also for what it's worth, this is only something that happens when you compare it to itself.
yeah, because it doesn't matter. Both of them are legendary shows.
Yeah, compare it to other anime, and you got yourself like it's a stump.
It's just the best characters, the best look, the best story. Like also, Full Metal Alchemist is again one of those anime that you can just kind of show to anybody. I think anybody can get into Full Metal Alchemist. You don't have to be a weeb.
Yeah, yeah. It, like it's one that a lot of people just start on, and I don't blame you.
Soul Eater, I love it.
I've said this before. Soul Eater is the Nightmare Before Christmas of anime. It just has that feel to it.
Style,
It's got it also has plenty of style, and it's got
Lotus Juice.
Lotus Juice. The music is amazing. It's so damn cool. I I do I do sort of want a Soul Eater Brotherhood so that we can get like I keep hearing the manga's better,
I don't believe them.
but if you can make peace with the ending, which
So
I
it's just like madness.
yeah, if you can make peace with the ending, I think you're in for a good time. You're in for a fun ass ride, and also just one of the best EDs in anime as well.
Yeah,
Like
the
I
OP
want to
is
be
great too.
I want to be is awesome.
Actually, I like the other OP. I mean, I want to be's great, but I love the other ED. Uh, what was it fucking called? I think they'll probably have it. Let's see, Paper Moon,
Mm,
the second ED. I'm falling down into my shadow.
yeah,
Like it's so good. Also, Excalibur and
yeah,
Stein and Corona. All these characters are great. Maka Auburn's one of my favorite shonen protagonists. Like she's just so cool.
yeah. I especially love her fight
See,
when she's taking on Gringy.
also, this is I hate Magic High School. This is one of my favorite Magic High School. Magic High School can work if you're cool about it and you're good. Um, Death the Kid's so fucking cool. Like Black Star's there. Like Stein, man,
And
all these characters are so cool.
And I appreciate that these are all characters that like they're some of these characters shouldn't be losers, but they are,
Yeah,
and I really enjoy that.
man. Fucking- I like how serious Excalibur the actor looks. I was like, Excalibur.
I mean, like, think about the but yeah,
They both sound the same.
yeah.
He does the same thing. IGPX,
IGPX is cool.
racing anime. It's a really cool racing anime.
Race-
Second best racing anime I've ever seen. First best being Redline. Yeah, it's actually surprisingly good story. It's very like a hip hoppy vibe. It reminds me of Toonami. Of just like down to earth and chill. But then the races happen and the races are sick. It's just like 3-on-3 races between NECA.
Yeah. The animation is really really good.
Has that stupid move, the Induragamano.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I remember when this came out, and it just kind of blew my mind. There was the first collaboration between Production IG and Toonami in just Japan, Japanese anime coming to the states, and this is what they gave us, and it was great. And I think people forget about it, but it also looks good. It ages really well if you ever go back to watch it. Like just the type of animation, like just I think if people go back and watch this, they'll remember it as like just an incredibly great racing anime. And 50 will be the the Daikon opening animations. They're great.
Yeah.
They're just music videos. You know, if you want to spend a nice time, spend like
Let's not have that one be the.
okay.
And we're not. It's not gonna. Okay, look,
Gonna be
we're
Garzy's
gonna go
wing.
to. Let's face it.
Garzy's wing,
I'm not gonna end on Garzy's wing.
but Garzy's wing though.
I hate that you have it this high up here.
It's amazing.
It's amazingly terrible.
It's the best terrible anime I've ever seen. Like, here's the trick. If you want to show it to your friends, it's on YouTube. Go to look up Garzy's Wing, watch episode 1, and tell me. Like, if anyone's listening to this, I don't expect anyone to really listen to this, but if you are listening to this, watch the first 5 minutes of Garzy's Wing and tell me what's happening in the comments. Give me an explanation. Really, really tell me what's going on. Like, it's fucking nonsense. And it's amazing. And I love it. I love when the guy kicks over the horse for no reason.
Yeah, he drops the horse like it's a motorcycle.
I like when the guy's in the room talking to himself from the other world. I think that's what's happening. And he has the sword. It's like,
Is it?
and he's like, huh?
Yeah. The dub. Make sure you watch it in the dub.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
it's terrible.
just watch the dub. It's great and awful and hilarious.
Just enjoy the terribleness, but when it starts to hurt, that's when you just stop.
Yeah. Don't watch too much of it because it starts to hurt your soul.
Yeah.
Because people worked on this.
You start to go numb.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll end on Digimon Tamers. Digimon Tamers, the best Digimon,
It's the best Digimon.
because it has a great cast. All the Digimon are really. These are the first Digimon that I feel like are actual characters. Because Digimon has this thing where, like, all the Digimon are like with Tai with Agumon, they're all like reflections of the characters themselves. They're not really characters themselves. They're monsters with cute voices that do the fights.
Mm-hmm.
These are their best friends. They might as well be toys. Well, I mean, they are toys. Let's be real. But Guilmon is an actual character. And they both have arcs.
The relationships between the Digimon and their tamers is incredibly important throughout the show.
Yeah. It also has it's dark. Like it's darker than people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some like actual horrifying moments.
Leomon's death is really Leomon dies in every season of Digimon. That's just a thing. there's actually in in the fourth iteration of Digimon, uh,
Frontier.
Digimon Frontier, there is a one of the Digidestined. He gets he's like a dark Digimon guy who his his stupid ass armor. I think it's like called Dark Leomon. He dies. Okay, Leomon dies in every season of Digimon. He has never died so hard as in this one.
Yeah, I still remember at the end with Beelzemon trying to break into the D Reaper, and he's like, "Give me the strength I need, fist, kill." Ah.
Yeah,
And it's heart wrenching because he's using the power of the Digimon like that he killed.
yeah, yeah. Like it deals with death. It deals with like the parents. Parents are heavily
They're
involved.
actual characters.
Yeah, they're not just kind of there to like stand in the back. Like they are heavily involved in the show, and there's even the way that it ends, where the parents kind of screw over the kids. It's it's hard. It's hard to sort of like it's hard to swallow at times because like I mean fuck it, I'll say like the like one of the parents he straight up he tells his kid like I hid this from you. When we get rid of the D Reaper, we had to get rid of the Digimon as well. And the way that his kid like looks at him like he asks him to forgive him, and he just kind of like he's smiling, but at the same time he shakes his head no, and that's such a complicated feeling
Yeah,
to show an animation of just like he's both he's incredibly upset, he's incredibly sad, but also
understands.
he still understands, and he's not like it feels so complicated in that moment. In a lot of moments, they're really complicated.
For a show that's and it was such a ballsy show for its time because like not only are we going to reboot the series, we're going to like the series you watched was a show inside this series.
Yeah, yeah, like they reference season one of Digimon. They're like the Takato. He refers to himself as Tai.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna be the
Uh,
goggles like captain, red captain,
yeah, I'm the goggles one, so I'm the leader, right?
and like it. I love Takato because he's not a little bitch, but he's emotional and
Yeah,
like
he's the more like
he's the heart of the group.
yeah yeah he likes Digimon. He likes everything about it. He's a Digimon fanboy.
And yeah, this this is the well written Digimon that's gonna stand the test of time. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, like just and they just they go there's a whole lot of different themes going on. One big one is also just staying in tune with your inner child
yeah,
as well. There's a character later on. He's in a coma the entire time, and he is the most in touch with his inner child, and that's why he's able to like stay connected and stuff. And it's there's a whole lot of issues with adults trying to reach their children, but they just can't identify with them anymore. And hell, there's one of the characters has like it's implied that she's got kind of an abusive dad. Like he's like a hardworking dad and everything. He's kind of stupid, and he actively like yells at her and like pulls her arm and stuff like that. And he's just like she was just taken to another world and everything, and while all the other parents are wondering if their kid is like fine, and they're like, "Oh, are you okay, sweetie?" He's just like, Look what the fuck you did. Like I had to miss work for this." Like he's just so upset, and that's a real home situation.
Yeah, versus like in the other Digimon where the parents were just kind of like the ones who the finger waggy.
Yeah, yeah.
But not all of them, but like I don't know. Like
When they a lot of them when they found out about their kids having to do this, they sort of just take a step back and go like, "Well, I'm sure you have this, whatever."
yeah.
You know, I've gotta make two bean salad.
yeah.
That's it. But Tamers is way more mature than it has any right being because Digimon is just like it's supposed to be off-brand Pokemon, but it's not. And
Sure.
they and Tamers Tamers really shows that.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna stop there because this has been yeah 2 hours. That's good stuff. We'll continue it later. Yeah. If you listen to this, I don't know, just listen to it as a podcast. Make sure you're doing something as well. Like don't just do this. I'll work on that. It was fun. Peace.